Okay, I'm gonna do this again. Hello, Jupitines, and welcome back to how to create a workspace that works for you. Okay, there we go. Now it's working. Okay, so how to create your own workspace at home, but part of this you can probably use even in the office. And first, how are you all doing? I've been enjoying these little talks, and I hope you are too. I think you are. A bunch of you are enjoying it. So I am back with a different topic because I like to keep this momentum. I love it. I'm loving it. I'm enjoying it so much. So what I wanted to talk to you about today and what it got inspired by. It got inspired. Hi. Thanks for joining. It got inspired by me having a space. Hello, Nathan. Thank you. Thank you for being here. And thank you for calling me a beautiful queen. I appreciate it. So, okay, back to the conversation. I got inspired to have this conversation because for the first time ever, I have my own space, my own home office where I can work. And it's not fully by myself. My husband also is going to work here sometimes, but it is going to be occupied mainly by me. And also as a studio, like I want to film things. As you guys know, I love making videos, creating content, and really inspiring people with that part. So, and also sharing my own experience. And because of that, I was like, how did it start for me? Because it didn't start like this. When I started working out of college, I couldn't really work from home. There were only a few times where I figured, like I heard somebody say that they were working from home. I'm a little tired, but I still need to go to the gym tonight. And then I was like, oh, that's possible? Like this person is working from home? So one time I asked my boss and she basically said, like when she was really sick, oh, actually it was my boss who was doing it. Forgot. It was actually her, but I think I've heard other people do it, but nobody on my team was doing it. So, then I saw like people doing it and I was like, can I do that? And I did it, I think once or twice when I was sick, but I didn't enjoy it that much because I ended up actually working more and trying to, thank you, Rod. And beautiful accent, where is it from? I am from Yugoslavia. And I didn't like that, but I always, even before I started my corporate job after college, I knew that I wanted to work remotely. I just didn't know how. I saw people do it, didn't understand how they were doing it. At that time, it was still not a big deal. This was before COVID. And what I did is I had a desk, and that's the same desk I used to study on because I lived in the city and I had the roommates. So I only had my own room as my own space. And in the room, I had a desk. And when I started working, I got a second screen, just the monitor, nothing else. And I knew that at this job, I couldn't do this, but I said to myself, I'm gonna make it work. I'm gonna figure out a way to work from home. So at first, I just had the desk there and this monitor that didn't get used. It was a new monitor. In fact, that monitor I'm using today, because that was at this point about maybe 8-9 years ago. It was a while ago, but that monitor, I invested in a good monitor. That was the another thing. I wanted to invest in a good monitor so it lasts me a long time, so I can have it. And then from that space, COVID happened and we started working from home. I actually quit my job too, so I started to use the desk more and more. Even before that, I think I used it a little bit more, but I couldn't work from home fully. Like I had to be in the office, and only sometimes when I had like a family emergency or I had some other reason that I couldn't go into the office, but I didn't want to lose the whole day, I would work from home. So what I did is I created a space just for work, right? I did my best not to work from my bed. There were moments where I was doing it, and I did a little more research. I'm like, how can I do it? Because sometimes I felt overwhelmed, I felt stressed. There's just so much going on. So sometimes I would go for a walk, but then I would end up back in the same space. So something that I learned is it's super important of the environment that we work in. And because the reason why it's super important, and that is because the part of the brain, the amygdala, scans for threats literally every less in a second, at least 5 times or more. It scans for threats. So if you're already stressed, and on top of that, you're working in an environment that is not so guys are having some other conversation on here. That's fine. And and it scans for threats, so then it takes away from you staying focused. It takes away from like what you're trying to do, right? So that's the reason it's important to like have as much as you can. Again, like I said, I started in New York City. It's not a city that's not noisy, that's quiet. It's quiet noisy. And so I did my best. I just took a little corner and I made it. The other thing that I think is really important is to like, besides minimizing the noise around you as much as you can, as much as you can control, I also think the choice of music that you make and that you listen to while working is super important, because the fact that your brain is constantly scanning for threats, it also listens to the words. So for work, I actually tried it and it worked for me a lot. I think I'm more focused if the music that I'm playing when I do it is music that doesn't have any words. It doesn't say. So why am I sharing this with you? Because it is super important. It is your comfort. It is also like, how do I say this? If you have your own space, you get to be yourself. You get to create it the way you have it. So maybe you can decorate it in a specific way, put something that's motivating. And then when you get into that space, the brain, because the brain after a while, it learns exactly what is going on around you and where you are. So then it knows when you're at the desk, it's work time, and it automatically turns. You might not feel it, like it's not like you press a button and it happens, but your brain does it. The neurons, they do it. And the other part about having a workspace is you can also organize it, or maybe even keep it disorganized in a way that works for you. Here's what I mean. When the desk is too messy and there is like no organization or anything like that, it can actually be distractive and it might be hard for you to focus. And there's multiple studies on this. You can feel free to Google it. And then there was this article that I was shocked to read. I didn't read it now. It was, I don't know, a few years ago, or was during COVID. It wasn't like recent. And there was this article that talked about a study that was done. I think it was a newsroom or something like that. Anyways, they did a study where they studied the brain and how it functions if the room was clean, like super clean, very neat, and if the room was messy. And they found out that for the creative people, it actually serves them to have mess. Maybe not too messy, but to have some mess, because those distractions spark creativity. Maybe if you get distracted and you say like, I'm gonna put this away, and you put that away, and then you see something else along as you take it there, and you get an idea like, oh, what if I created a video talking about having your workspace. And that's how it happened to me. I literally was like, where am I? Oh, I'm in my office. Oh, maybe I can make a video about that. And the other thing is, like, there's a little bit of disorganization because I actually got an air on sign outside of my door, which is the next part I want to talk to you about, is creating boundaries and rules with your family, because you need to do that. Why? So, like, for example, I'm filming right now, and though it has happened before where somebody just knocks on the door or comes in and it's no big deal, it is very helpful for me to just create a boundary or have some way of letting them know, hey, please, respect my space. Right now I am filming and I don't want to be distracted. And people know in the household now, and it makes me feel so good for doing that. And then I think one part that I missed earlier, and I said, when people are organized, it does help them to stay more focused, but you gotta decide of how much organized is good and how much of a mess is good for you. Because I also noticed that if I'm too organized, there's a part of me that feels good and I'm like, oh, I did a really good job. But then I also get a little bit like anxious because I'm like, oh, I don't want to mess up what I did. I don't want to like I cleaned it and I want it to stay like that, right? So there's like this pressure. Hi, Rickard. There's a little pressure of maintaining a certain look, and that does not help me at all. And the other thing that I'm currently working with is getting like work hours and times that you spend here. What do I mean by that? For example, if I was to be here at midnight and it's time for me to sleep, but I'm still sitting here working, then my brain won't be able to fall asleep. It will take some time for it to disconnect. Or maybe I'm here watching TV or watching YouTube videos that are not related to my job and to my creativity. Then in that case, I'm taking away from this space and the brain is starting to dissociate this space just with work. Now it literally says, okay, so I'm here for work, but maybe I can watch a YouTube video, a fun YouTube video. So you go watch the YouTube video. And the other thing that you can do is, of course, you're gonna get tired, right? So taking breaks is super important. And that's where you can go for a walk, or you can go to another part of the house. During COVID, what I did, well, part of it I lived alone and part of it I lived with people or roommates. So I would be in my own space, but then I would also go and interact with other people and, spend time in a common area or in a different area of where I worked. Because when I lived by myself and then I lived with other people, there was one time, especially like moving in with my husband, now I couldn't have anymore the office in the bedroom, because obviously first I really hated having my office in the bedroom. It was just really hard for me to disconnect from rest and work. Like, I struggled with it. But then when I had my own apartment, hey babe, thanks for being here. And I had my own apartment, we moved it to the living room, or I moved to the living room before that. And even in the living room, because the kitchen was there and we cooked, because the living area is there as well. Maybe my husband wants to watch TV or whatever he wants to do. There's also like a struggle to disconnect compared to right now, where it's just me here and I'm just dealing with myself and the work and the environment that I am in. So what I would do while I'm here, I would still go out and take a break, go for like a quick walk in the other room, maybe even grab a snack, a healthy snack. I try to do healthy snacks. And earlier I saw an article about someone saying that people who are organized with their desk and their work area tend to choose more of healthy snacks and maintain that lifestyle, which was so interesting. I never heard of that before. The other thing that's important is lighting. I don't know if you guys can see, but I have really good lighting where I'm here in the office, and that is very important. Otherwise, I could fall asleep. And I'm yawning too, so yeah, I could easily fall asleep here if I didn't have good lighting. Some parts of the day I have very good light, natural light, and then other times I don't, so I usually rely on artificial light to make sure that I have this space always ready to go for work. All these things help with concentration, with focus, and it really helps for your mind to be peaceful, your body to relax. It allows for you to also be creative and focus on your project. And if you are not necessarily creative or you don't have your own projects, that's still fine, because having this healthy environment to work in would allow you to take care of your clients, to talk to your boss, to your coworkers in a way that is productive and efficient and effective, rather than being distracted or your body just like struggling to find a place where to sit. I don't know if you ever felt like antsy. You like go to the or it used to happen to me when I used to not have the office. So I would go on a sofa, I would be okay for a little bit there, but not really. Then I would go to another place and I would not be okay with it. And I think all of that would happen because none of those areas were dedicated for work. But my work area was also not the best one, because I'm somebody who's easily to get distracted. So if I hear noise, if I hear things around, then I'm not really focused on my work. So I can't sit at my desk, and I go and I sit somewhere else. And it helps with mindset. Mindset is the predominant way of how we live our lives and how we do things. So it also allows us to either grow or not, or like stagnant. So I recommend, and for people who work from home, who work from an office, I think it will be a little bit easier for you to find maybe like a little corner where you can create it and make your own. But for people who work in industries that they have to go out, if you work, I don't know, if you work with your hands, or you're crafty, or maybe you don't even work with your hands, like you always have to be out in the field doing something. A lot of people still bring something at home for work. So I think it's a good idea to choose a part of your home where you can do that in, and it'd be great if you don't do anything else there. But unfortunately, I understand for some people it would be like the living room allows the most space, but it also allows space for work, for fun, for family, for everything. I hope that you enjoyed this little live, and I will see you soon. Thank you for the people who have wrote some beautiful comments on there, and for those who didn't, well, you're talking to yourself. Bye.